start talking at. That was really good. So Scott, let's just very much get into this. It's season 4. You are now sort of the content overseer of this universe. And so, what is different about Fear the Walking Dead this year, and what do you think the new team is bringing to the table?
It's everything that you've loved about the show, with these new ingredients, with these new people. They're in a very new situation, and the characters themselves have a great deal of new relationships going on between them. It isn't. Things have evolved between the characters. Enemies have become friends. People who maybe weren't in charge or somewhat more in charge, and they find themselves in very different situations. And I'll look at these two men. Have I given anything away?
Just enough.
Okay, very good.
Well, Andrew, what sort of themes are you guys exploring this year, and what's the jump from? Because at the end of last season, everything it ended in a way where you're like, maybe they'll all die, maybe they'll all live. What's happening? So, what was the jump between last season and this season?
Really, kind of the big thematic thing we're dealing with is end of last season. Everyone, like you said, we don't know where they are, but also on a personal level, relationships were fractured. People weren't in the best place. So really this season is all about a journey from isolation to community, and it's about people in a very bleak and dark world trying to find just that little shred of hope that gives them the thing to keep on fighting.
Right, and so Ian, for you, what was sort of tantalizing about being able to pull in Morgan to this world and really connecting the two shows?
Well, I mean, we have all been fans of Morgan from Walking Dead and of Mr. James. But we started this season with an idea, an emotional story that we wanted to tell that honors everything that's happened in the first 3 seasons with these characters, but also takes them to new emotional places. And Morgan's journey on The Walking Dead, kind of when we started to talk about the journey of these characters, it just lined up in a way that became undeniable that he should be part of the fabric of the story. And we're very excited.
And so, coming into the show, what was your plan, and do you feel like it's evolved, or do you feel like, yeah, we totally got this? Are you still learning and figuring it out? Like, where do you feel like you're at now as showrunners with Fear the Walking Dead season 4?
We're very tired. But I mean, I think we kind of set out to achieve what we set out to do, and I mean, you know, just this week we kind of pitched the end of the season to AMC, and definitely in a different place than maybe we imagined 8 or 9 months ago when we first started talking about it, but you know, we're kind of very excited about where we hopefully are going to end up.
Great. So for Nicotero, because the thing that I always ask you about each season of the other Walking Dead show, that other one, is that each season you kind of have to up the ante on the walkers, and they're decaying more, and you try new gags and you try new stunts. But then, as the infected on Fear the Walking Dead, it was sort of a different aesthetic quality.
Right.
And so, how are you balancing the two shows, tying them together, but keeping this one, like what gags are you excited about for this show that are unique to Fear?
Well, these guys came up with some great stuff. We dip into our zombie pool as often as we can.
In this case, literally.
Literally,
Yes.
it was a zombie pool, seriously. And what's exciting for me, I still can't get over the fact that we've been doing this 8, 9 years, and we're still surprising ourselves. We're still coming up with stuff that hadn't thought of or just hadn't got to yet. I think that the writers, these guys have crafted some really great moments. And there is some continuity between the two shows now that they live in the same universe, but they each have their own fingerprint, their own blueprint. The walkers will probably be the one thing that will be the most consistent because of the way they decay, the way that they look. So we really wanted there to be a consistency between the two shows in terms of how they look. What these guys have done in their team of writers is they've come up with some amazing opportunities, and it's gotten me really excited. I directed the finale for Walking Dead. worked with Lenny and realized that when I was hugging him and saying goodbye, that I was going to see him in a couple of weeks on Fear the Walking Dead. So fortunately for me, I don't have to say goodbye to him. Just finishing Walking Dead and then being involved with Fear, it's been great having the new actors coming in and sort of teaching them ways to kill zombies and seeing how good they are at it. Jenna kind of got it like that immediately. So it's been really exciting. And in the past, with Fear the Walking Dead, because they were infected, they were less decayed. The look of them was a little different. So now we're getting a chance to really throw that all out the window and really jump in with some amazing makeups and some great characters and performances there. So.
Yes, because I remember when Fear started, people had like 5 seasons of Walking Dead, and so when the apocalypse started happening in Fear, viewers would be like, just stab him in the brain. You're like, these people don't know that.
Right.
Like, that guy could just be on drugs. You can't just start stabbing people in the eye, So it seems like the show is kind of caught up in terms of the understanding of what the apocalypse is at this point on Fear.
Yeah, and the understanding of what you have to do to survive.
Right.
And one of the things about this show that I really like, listen, the scripts have been so great. These guys can attest to that. Every time I would read a script, they get the last page. I can't wait to find out what's going to happen next. The way that they've laid out the story. So for me, just as a guy who's reading the scripts and knowing what these stories are coming to, but in that regard, you have to learn how to work together to survive in this world, and then of course the pitfalls of who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, how they interact. And in this season of Fear, we get a chance to see these characters, and as our timeline is played with a little bit here and there, you're not going to just see the same person from episode to episode, but time is going to affect who they become and who they are and how they react.
Excellent. Coleman Domingo, first of all, Strand is such a great character. When we first see him, he's very cool, he's very collected, he knows what's going on, he seems like a guy to follow, and then he just starts crumbling, and you really start to see the humanity of him. And then you find out, oh, he's not at all what he is trying to put out into the world. Is he a good guy, is he a bad guy? I don't know. He definitely is on Victor Strand's side. So how has he evolved for you these last 3 seasons, and what are you excited about seeing him grow in season 4?
I've always said that Victor Strand has been sort of a symbol of deconstructing capitalism, all the things that we hold near and dear, and we've seen that, from him showing up in his shiny Ralph Lauren suits, and he was the man who had the plan, and then his plan started crumbling, and then you found out the inner workings of this guy and why he does what he does. Which is always very complicated, and sometimes complicated to himself. And at the end of last season, I thought that it was very symbolic that he was trying, he was grabbing at straws. By the time Alicia showed up and she's a nurse to the proctors, he didn't know what was going on. So this season has offered him a new possibility to be a part of something, whether it's building community, it's not being on just about Victor Strand for the first time, to be a part of something bigger. And that's what I think the message is about, how we rebuild civilization. And we have to, use our talents, even the talents that may be seemingly nefarious at times, but to use it for the group's survival. So he's trying and testing that out, and we'll see how that goes.
Are we going to see a lot of smooth Victor Strand, or are we going to see a lot of
lifting his skirt, running for the hills?
Sure.
No, we'll see a lot of.
You totally have to put that in a script.
But I think we'll see a complicated version of Victor Strand, who again is reassessing this world, and how is he going to find his way in it and get to the top.
Excellent. Alicia Bly. So, Alicia evolved very quickly, it seems. She was almost...
I feel like it was slowly.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
It seems, well, for the viewers, it feels like it happened pretty quickly. Maybe to you because you live with it day to day for so much of the year.
Yeah, I mean, and also, it's, I feel like it's been a setup to season 4 of seeing a teenager grow into an adult. as well. So for me, that journey feels very layered and long, I guess. Sorry, what was your question? I totally hijacked that.
My question is, should Victor Strand run for the hills in a skirt? The answer is yes. So, do you think Alicia do you think she's, because she had to kind of go through this evolution where you realize like, oh, she's kind of another mom in the family unit because Nick is so screwed up and Madison's always trying to deal with him, and because Alicia's so capable, she's just been kind of left on her own a lot. Do you think she began to get comfortable with that, or was she able to justify that in any way? Where do you think she's at the end of the last season?
I think she finally pushes back against it. I think she's done being the golden child, done being the responsible one, having to be stronger than she really should be. And she's endured so much, so seeing her actually walk away at the end of season 3 was a big moment for her, and I think it showcased where she was headed, which was to be her own independent person.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's what we get to finally see in season 4 as well, is we see her become, I mean, she has become a leader in a sense, but we really get to see her find that in a completely different way. And yeah, I mean, it's a big development for this character.
Great. Denai Garcia, it's so crazy that there are 2 Walking Deads with a Denai on each show.
I know, we talked about it.
But, so Luciana, she disappeared for a little bit. We didn't know what was going on. She's a great character. She's obviously very focused, super strong, but also very vulnerable at the same time. Like, she didn't seem too hesitant to be able to open up to Nick. So can you talk a little bit about how she's grown, where she's at now, what we can expect to see from her in season 4?
Well, first of all, I love playing characters that have layers. And I really focus on not just playing the strong woman, but also bringing, the layer of being also a fragile woman. And certainly the relationship with Nick, which could be complicated. She left because she needed to find her own path, and she was losing those values that meant so much to her. And the values were like family, being part of a tribe, community, because that's where you find the strength. And in that time apart, she realizes, it's really the way forward now more than ever. So we certainly reunite because of that.
Is it possible to hold a community together in this world? Because I feel like what Walking Dead teaches us is whenever you see like a gated community, you're like, well, that's going to be on fire. That's not going to last.
Let's take it easy.
Let's take it easy.
Let's roll it back.
Well, that's kind of the risk, you take the risk to like, okay, who should I hang on to? It has to be worth it. It has to be the right person. Because something is going to happen.
Right. But ultimately, it's, what I love so much about this world is that it's so much plays with the idea of like what's right and wrong, and where do people kind of place their values? Is it on the community? Is it on themselves? Is it on their kids? So that it's not that people are necessarily evil, they're all just trying to survive.
Absolutely. I honestly think in this universe, there's no such a thing as being a villain. Coleman and I were talking about it when they say, oh, what do you think of the villain? I'm like, what villain? We all are trying to survive, whatever it takes. I mean, hopefully you can keep your sanity going, but you can really go to really dark places to make it happen.
Well, and in terms of like a character who's gone to dark places and come back, Morgan has definitely been on both sides of that. When we first saw him, he was just a dude, then he got clear, then he became a peaceful mutant ninja turtle, then he became a killing machine again. I mean, I always think Morgan has it's all or nothing with him. What do you think that is about him?
He's a man of extremes. He's, if you're going to kill, you might as well kill everybody. Seems to be his thinking. And if you're not going to kill, then you shouldn't kill anybody.
Right. Is he getting better at blurring the lines and compromising, or is he still kind of an all or nothing guy?
I think one of the things that's been really enjoyable about being on Fear is that exactly that. The lines do get blurred. it's a time now where Morgan's existing, and he's not friend of Rick, confidant of Carol, buddy of the guy who's got the tiger. He is...
that would be Ezekiel?
That would be Ezekiel. And, but he's now in a place where he has no history in fear and to the people of fear. And so he gets a chance to decide who he's going to be now. And that's been really exciting.
I remember when it was really sad. That's sort of like Scott said, when you were, like, oh, you're crossing over, you're sort of, you're leaving one show. It was really sad. Like, in our hearts, Morgan is over there. Then I ran into you a couple months later, and you said, I was really nervous because I didn't know what to expect. And you said it has been an incredible experience in Austin with this cast and this crew, and you seem to embrace it 110% like a character named Morgan. So, are you feeling...
I mean, I think it's one of the things that Scott says, like, when you lose a character in the show, that there are real-world consequences because that actor is no longer around. And I think we kind of went at it a bit like you do in the apocalypse when you come across new people and you're in new situations. You have a choice, you either band together or it separates you, and it was really cool because, this is a good bunch of people. That's one of the things that's good about this universe, is that it's really cracking actors, but it's really cracking human beings as well. And we all kind of, pitched in, saw what the issues were and tackled them, and moved forward in the right direction, and it's been a joy.
10 points to Gryffindor for using a British term like cracking. We enjoy that here, we're charmed by it. Because you have a foot in both shows, basically, you've seen both. How does it connect for you? Like, what's the connective tissue that you see, and how is the show its own voice but still connected to the universe?
In all honesty, I'm still figuring that out. I had very little time between the end of one show and the start of the other show. I had like 6 days. And so at the moment, I'm trying to resist all comparisons because it's like comparing, I don't know, your sister to your girlfriend that you've only just met and you think might be important to you. So, but you don't want to compare the two. Also, you don't want to be thinking about your sister and your girlfriend.
I just noticed that when I said it out loud.
You don't want to compare them.
When it was in my head, it made much more sense.
You know what? These panels are kind of a Rorschach test. We discover things about ourselves. You don't want to compare them, you don't want to mix them up.
But anyway, what I meant to say is...
You know what? Listen,
I don't want to compare.
I'm from Tennessee, you don't have to apologize to me.
One's my girlfriend.
Yeah. So, I'm also Maggie Grace, who's joined the show this year.
Get on me very quickly.
And I was just thinking about how I would have loved if social media had been around while Lost was on, because that was really sort of the beginning of like the hardcore, like fans really communicating with each other, and you feel a real community around a show. How have you felt about joining this cast and being? Are you feeling the Walking Dead connection yet, or do you think maybe it'll happen more once the show airs?
I mean, I'd love for people at this table to describe the Walking Dead connection. I feel like that could be like this amazing kind of song and dance number.
It's good. It's all about how your girlfriend and your sister are.
Yeah. I was like, so which one are we? Are we the sister, the girlfriend, my sister?
And the apocalypse, it doesn't matter.
It's the apocalypse.
Yeah, what is that?
Long hot summer.
Yeah, come on, it's fine. But how do you, coming into this established universe, the show feels like it has a slightly new voice and a slightly new point of view. What did that feel like coming into this group and this world? Because once you're a part of the Walking Dead family, you're in it for life. And you'll see these fans and people, like you're a part of a community now. So are you feeling that yet?
I definitely am. I mean, they couldn't have been more gracious and wonderful. And it's, believe me, terrifying to show up to a show of this caliber, kind of jumping on board, with not that much notice, and they were just so welcoming and lovely, and luckily I was, dropping into a character that I really love and respect. So So that's been great.
Well, let's talk about her for a sec. Althea, is there anything you can tell us about her, obviously without giving anything away in front of the showrunner?
Guys, can I? So, when you said Rorschach test, I was like, holy crap. I was like, I think I win the least sleep at the table award because I was on set at 3 a.m., like in the background of that truck shot, so I've had like a couple hours of sleep. So this is all like an AMA to me. Truth here, I'm like,
this also must be like a weird fever dream. Am I on stage in front of thousands of people in Anaheim?
Echo? Yeah, no, I was in Texas and now I'm in Anaheim. It's so crazy. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say. I love her. She's unusually capable. She has a real agenda, a transactional side, and a soulful side, and
I mean, I would say, I think the thing that we love about Elle is she's someone who is kind of thriving in the apocalypse in a way that maybe other people wouldn't, in a way that we really haven't seen anyone kind of in the Walking Dead universe.
Well, that's what's sort of fun about this show, is that when you change the environment, who do people become? And what is their, moral and ethical axis? If they're sort of like neutral good pre-apocalypse, do they become lawful or chaotic after the apocalypse? And is that who they always were, or is that what they were made in this world?
Oh, yeah, and to that end, without giving it away, part of why Althea is able to thrive so well after the apocalypse has to do with who she was before the apocalypse.
Yeah, she amazingly does not change that much. And even weirdly, her circumstances haven't changed that much. She is uniquely qualified to be in the apocalypse, and she has an agenda within there.
That's a very...
You see how glorious they make that was?
Let's, if we could, for the next 10 minutes, just talk vaguely about things.
Althea is a person, she eats food, she wears shoes, or maybe not.
Careful.
I think she's a really fun character that people are gonna just dig watching.
I did. She's scrappy as hell.
It'll be really fun when we come back here next year and everyone's seen everything, and then you can sort of talk about it and people can ask and they understand, because right now they don't have any frame of reference, which is why you should watch the show in a couple of weeks.
But not the best car of anybody.
Mind resistant.
Most awesome ride.
Protected vehicle.
Excellent. And what were you?
And she does like new people.
She does like new people.
We have established.
I'm like, what can I say that the trailer already showed? She likes people and food.
Garrett Dillahunt, who's on one of my favorite shows of all time, Deadwood. Garrett. And it was hard not to get a little misty watching you gunsling and go, oh, Deadwood. I would have hosted Talking Deadwood. I would have hosted it. But
there's a lot of Deadwood here today. I saw Molly here just a minute ago.
Yeah, Molly Barker was on the last panel.
You saw Kim back there. Yeah.
Kim was up there, yeah. So, John obviously is skilled in ways. What sort of vagaries can you tell us about John? What are you excited about with him?
Well, I love this character, I gotta say. I too was really nervous to join this crew because, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the show. I think some of you know I've been trying to get on the show, and one of them for a while. And I'm finally here, and I'm grateful. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Let it out, everyone. Don't be afraid.
Sometimes it's hard to play a character. Sometimes you just fit right in. You just slip it on like a worn boot or something. And this one feels good. Yeah, it's better than a sister. I'm not sure it is. I thought a boot analogy for a cowboy is pretty straightforward. But he has other clothes as well.
Oh, good.
These guys are meme ready.
He is a creature of, this century, but he is comfortable with his old school skills.
Excellent. Jenna Elfman, dear friend of mine. I was so excited when I got the text and you're like, I'm gonna be on the effing, I don't know if I can swear or not, but yeah. It's funny, you watch a zombie show and then it's like, oh, you're watching people's guts get ripped out and you're gonna be offended by the word fuck, really? Oh, no language, I can only watch people's eyes get gouged out. I draw the line after that. No language. But no more F-bombs, so I'll take the heat on that one. But Naomi, there was a photo with you and Madison covered in oil. Can you expound on that a little bit? What's happening? Who is Naomi?
That was one of my first Walker kill stunt scenes. And, you know, Naomi, I mean, I could get back to that one scene, but it wants me to, I want to connect something to Morgan. And those stories of isolation versus community, and like Morgan's whole in and out and struggle with that, carrying over into this show, and sort of like a big old punch in the face. These characters, every single one of them, are thrown face first into their own personal dilemma of character. Who are they when faced with the isolation versus community struggle, and where their sanity fits in both of those situations. And when we find my character, she's a capable survivor, but she's in that trauma. And she's in a heavy trauma. And you don't recover from trauma on your own. You need a community. But there's a lot of liability that comes with community. And so when we find her, she's on the run, and she's very skittish. And that kind of helps me find my way into that oil tank. And that was an intimidating day, because there's a big learning curve, you know, on the stunts, the Walker kills, the mythology surrounding it. And I remember I went to the set early, and I got with the stunt guys. I was like, okay, walk me through this. Like, what are the rules? Because I think I'm so honored to be part of this universe. And everybody in this room, it's kind of cool, and I actually really get your passion for it, because I think the storytelling is really special. And I really wanted to honor everyone, and I didn't want to do anything wrong in terms of the Walker kills or anything, because I wanted everyone to celebrate it. And so anyway, I worked really hard on that.
Oh, that's great. But I love, you know.
Yeah, and it was really, 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 really wet.
You know, Walker's good.
And I'm a good Walker killer.
But you've done so many different types of things, and I've been wanting to ask you about, you know, the sitcom schedule. Yeah, it's like 4 days a week, 10 to 4, you know, versus this kind of, is this the most physically demanding show you've ever worked on?
By far, like the amount of Epsom salt that I have in my bathroom, next to my bathtub. I'm doing as many of the stunts as I can, and I was a professional dancer my whole life, so I'm pretty capable physically, and I really, really enjoy stunts. Like, I think it's really fun. So I like to do as many as I can myself, and I've been doing a lot of them. And between the stunts, physical stunts, and the actual killing of the walkers, and then the emotional journey of playing this character and her complexity, I'm very tired. No, I'm very happy at the end of the day, and I really enjoy a good Epsom salt bath.
Well, let's open up the floor to questions now. If you have a question, please come forward. Now is the time. Oh, good, you're there. Well done you. What is your name?
Hi, my name is Chelsea.
Hey Chelsea, what's your question?
My question is for, well, anyone who wants to answer. Since we're seeing a character from The Walking Dead cross over to Fear, if you could pick any character from Fear to cross over to The Walking Dead, who would it be?
Morgan.
Just redeem yourself. Did you say Morgan? Points. Good for you.
Chelsea, hi. It's a rad question, but it's like asking us to vote somebody off the island. We like each other a lot.
God, I don't know. Oh man, can anyone think of one that could cross over? Oh, John wants to. Yeah, Garrett's gonna cross over already. Yeah, he'll jump back and forth.
Radom.
Did you have one? Is there someone that do you have a character? Can you ask Chelsea? Can Chelsea just?
Yeah, it'd be Strand or Madison.
All right, excellent.
Why?
Strand reminds me of Abraham in a way. He's kind of got that quirky sense of humor, and I feel like going into Rick's group, it'd be nice.
You know, I need to liven things up over there, right?
Well, I can't imagine.
I'll take my cocktail shaker, basically. It'll be a lot of fun.
But I can't imagine, I'm trying to imagine Victor Strand saying any of the colloquialisms that Abraham said, like, I can't imagine Victor Strand going, oh, you really got on mixing that baby batter. Like, I can't. Bisquick line coming from Strand is pretty sexy when he says it. Hello, what is your name?
Hi, I'm Lonnie.
What's your question?
My question is for Lenny. On The Walking Dead, you did a lot of being mentored and mentoring. Which character, Fear the Walking Dead, would you like to teach the way of the staff?
Oh, I think that Morgan has lost so many mentees. The moment Morgan walks up to you and goes, let me look after you, run for the hills. Because he loses more young people that way. So I think he's best not teaching anybody the stick or the staff at the moment. And I think, well, I know, he's trying to remain on his own, even amongst all of these guys.
Excellent. Hey. Oh, sure.
Thanks for the 10 points.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, yeah, you're Gryffindor. I'm taking it back, because Ravenclaw, I'm sorry, it's Ravenclaw. No, you're wrong. The Gryffindors are the jocks, they always win the house club. Ravenclaws are the nerd. Wit among measure is man's greatest treasure. The Ravenclaws are the nerds. So, take your ball and go. There goes the jocks. I'm kidding, we can all be friends and unite against the Hufflepuffs. Guys, they're kind of derpy. All right, fine. What is your name?
Hi, my name is Kylie. Last year I went to Comic-Con and I asked you guys if you had nightmares about zombies. But since there's new cast members, my question is if the new cast members have nightmares about zombies.
New cast members, Meg?
Yes.
Garrett?
I guess I haven't. I have nightmares about this cast. I don't, I love them, but...
Jen, have you had the zombie dream?
No, but I have 2 young boys, 2 children, and they've been watching, tons of Fear and Walking Dead, and then sometimes they wake up in the middle of the night and they come and they're like, Mama! Like right in my face. I'm like, I'm like, okay, and I take an Epsom salt bath and then I go back to bed.
Thank you so much for your question. Hey, what's your name?
Hey, my name is Brendan.
And what is your question?
This one's for Alicia. What has been your favorite experience on the show so far?
Wow. Oh gosh.
That's very good camera work there. You found his frame. You thought the frame was Don't get in. Don't cut off my head. Good for you, sir.
I'm going to say Coleman Domingo. It's my favorite experience.
Your favorite experience?
There have been so many different amazing points to this show. I mean, we've moved to different cities. We've had so many great cast members join us and leave, and it's hard to pick just one. I think what's great about this moment right now is kind of rediscovering this show and making it bigger and expanding it and having it collide with something. It's really special. I don't think you get to do that a lot. So it feels very unique right now, and especially moving to Austin and then having just a new place to experience this is really exciting. And yeah, I think it shows too. This trailer was incredible. It's so different from anything we've seen for the show so far. So I feel like it's a culmination of all these experiences that right now it feels very special.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for your question. What is your name?
My name's Christy, and my question's actually for you, Chris.
What?
If you were in this world with these people, but everybody disbanded, who would you align yourself with to keep you safe?
Oh man, come on.
I'd just like to remind you that I have daggers and an MRAP.
Just save the writers.
This show or both shows?
I actually asked you this question a couple years ago when you picked Carol for the other group.
I did.
You did. So this specific cast.
Oh my God. I don't know. Damn it. Well, I'm a pain in the ass. Like, I don't think they would want to have me around. Like, what am I going to do if I hang out with them? Like, in this apocalypse, I'm useless, first of all. If they wanted to sit down and talk at the end of the day on a couch, I could do that. Oh, tell me about your day. How many infecteds did you kill today?
We might need that in this world.
You might very well need it. I don't know, because everyone has like a kind of a superpower about them. I sort of feel like Madison's great, but she also always feels like she could just unhinge at any minute. And there's stuff about her that you don't know. Strand is great, but then if he's too much into Strand at any given moment, then he would totally sell me off for food or something. I don't know, something would happen. And Alicia's great, but at a certain point, she should be like, I need some alone time. And then I would be alone, and I don't know what I would do. Denai, I feel like, would just kick the shit out of me. So I don't know. I don't know, this is a tough one, and I don't know anything about the new characters, and then Morgan would either super hug me or super drive a staff into my brain. You just don't know on which day, so I don't know if I could really pick anyone at this point. I just think it's too, don't make me decide. I ramble when I'm nervous, I don't know what to say in front of these people.
I think humor is a very, very valuable commodity, and you would run a good barter system.
I would run a good barter system for that. So would you and I align, do you think?
I'm in.
Okay, great. All right, there it is. I'll say. Did you have someone that you?
Yes. You would make this work.
Right. So you pick Alicia. Excellent.
Good choice. Strong.
All right, thank you. I cannot pick any of my children. Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Good. What is your name?
My name's Sabrina. This is to the writers. I've been writing for about 9 years now, so I'd really like to know, what are your favorite characters to write? Like, the most interesting, and why?
On the show, or do you mean just like anything they've ever...
On Fear the Walking Dead.
The panel we're on. I'm sorry, that was a dumb question on my part. I apologize. Oh, like on this show? Oh, man, that's good. Oh, I didn't even think about that. I'm sorry, I'm dumb. You're right. Is there a particular character that you tend to gravitate toward more?
I think writing for Madison this year has been fun. I think there are things that Madison will do this year that I think will surprise people a lot. I think Kim is really, really funny. And I know that, you know, it's not a comedy, but she's had these one-liners this season that just have been hilarious while she's been doing this really emotionally stirring stuff.
It'd be funny if I was like, how's season 4 different? We added a laugh track.
Yeah, just
various times.
Yeah.
Like MASH.
It's more.
I beat you to it, I'm sorry, I apologize. Did you guys want to answer too?
Oh, I know, now you're asking us to pick our children.
Yeah, I know, not so fun, is it?
I know. It varies from episode to episode because, I mean, I think kind of throughout the course of the season, we have episodes that are kind of shining a light on different characters, but I would say, you know, an episode we were working on a little while ago had a lot of fun Victor Strand lines that we had a very good time pitching to each other and trying to do it in your voice, Coleman.
What? Excellent. Thank you so much. What is your name and what is your question?
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I just wanted to say I love the show. I love all of you guys. I basically grew up with the Walking Dead franchise. But my question is, was there any improv that made it onto the screen? And if there wasn't, were there any scenes that you wanted them to go on?
Well, first of all, the writers wouldn't admit this, but the entire show is improvised.
It's actually much more like Curb Your Enthusiasm. Kind of a loose outline.
Is there any freedom to play a riff, or does anyone throw anything in last minute? You're like, oh, that's great, or do you guys pretty much have to stick to the...
It's pretty tight. I mean, what we're doing is pretty ambitious, so our days are pretty jam-packed. So, you know, most of the directors come in with a pretty solid plan, and deviating from it can mean we don't get to shoot stuff we really want to shoot.
Sure.
But, you know, we are we are constantly surprised in all the best ways by what this amazing cast does with the scripts that we put out. So you know, there are surprises to us that we don't foresee that come back, and it's always great to see
and I think
stuff you didn't anticipate.
Some of the coolest stuff is when we write a line and then we see the dailies and see how it was played and be like, oh, like I didn't even in my wildest dreams imagine it could have been read like that, but like it adds so much more depth to it, and that's kind of the coolest thing is just this like collaboration that comes out of rewrite and then what everyone brings to it.
Great. Thank you for your question. Hey, what's your name?
Yeah, I'm Anthony, and I'm from San Diego. And will we learn anything about the time jump? And what can you tell us now?
What time jump?
Nice. Right to the point. I don't know what you're talking about.
We are playing with time, and there's
a time machine?
There is a time machine, yes.
I hope that makes a blog somewhere.
It only works in real time, though.
Yeah, it only goes in one direction. Yeah.
Thank you. But we are playing. We can't talk about any jumps, but we do some unusual things with time this season.
Is it? Oh, he just like slinks away. All right.
Yeah, I felt like we disappointed you.
That almost kind of reminded me of Arrested Development.
Yeah. Little Vince Gerald in there.
But if you watch the show, you'll find out. In a couple of weeks. You don't have to wait that long.
Or we could cut to it now.
Let's do it.
I meant,
in our time machine. What is your name?
Hi, my name's Rick, and I have a question for Lenny James. If it was up to you, would you allow your character to mention anything about your past to any of the characters here on Fear?
That's a really good question. The short answer is that's a really good question. I think that part of what goes on in this world, I have to try and answer this question without giving you any information whatsoever. There is one particular character who is pretty keen on knowing Morgan's history, and Morgan is pretty keen on not letting that person know. And that plays out in this fourth season of Fear the Walking Dead.
I mean, the truth is, if Morgan tried to explain where he came from, everyone would think he was crazy. Oh, I came from this place, and there was like a king and a guy with a tiger, and then there was this Freddie Mercury impersonator with a bat that had barbed wire around it, and then some other stuff happened. Like, it's just everything about it.
You've been reading the scripts.
Yeah, I've been reading the script. There's a guy with a mullet who talks like a D&D manual. No one would believe it. They're like, oh, he's on drugs. What is your name?
My name is Luke Cheeseman.
Hey, Luke.
Hey, Luke.
Hello. My question is for Maggie Grace.
You said that like I'm Luke Cheeseman.
You are like superhero.
Were you expecting
Star-Lord?
Star-Lord. There you go.
Oh yeah, good question.
What is your question for Maggie?
My question for Maggie Grace is, what inspirations did you use to develop your character?
Wow. Oh. Gosh, I'm sorry, I'm so distracted by the asker of the question, who's my cousin, and I was really nervous about whatever question that was going to be. Yeah.
This is your cousin.
We grew up in Ohio together.
Cheeseman!
Yeah, surprise.
You got Cheeseman.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, what is this question going to be?
When you were 4 and you pooped in the sink, does he follow you around and like pop up to every con? Explain yourself, Cheeseman.
Stu, with a question at the lockout panel a few years ago, I asked her what her mom thought about the movie, so I think she was expecting something like that, but I thought I'd keep it simple.
At that one, I was like, man, I'm in a movie with Lenny James, but we have no scenes together. Like, what the hell?
Oh yeah, we're in lockout.
Yeah.
That's where I know you from.
Gosh, I forget the question. Preparing for the character, I believe?
The question was, what's an embarrassing thing you can tell everyone about Luke Cheeseman? I mean, he's sort of put himself out there for it, I gotta feel like.
I didn't think about reversing the tables.
You could, yeah.
Great. And I've had no sleep, so don't mess with me. No, I think there was a lot in our conversations going into it. Again, it's like this gorgeous dance of giving nothing away, but yeah, I think, you know, the character is really, she's,
Thanks a lot. Well, we know she's like a hardcore survivor. We feel like we divine that. So where did that come
I think she sees a kernel of nobility that she's really struggling to get to and to highlight, and what separates, you know, us from the walkers at this point. Like, what in humanity is, you know, not just, you know, in competition and in this hard scrabble, nasty, brutish, and short life, but what are those moments that rise above and find real grace and humanity?
That was an excellent answer. That was an excellent answer, Luke. Thanks a lot, Cheeseman.
Oh, man.
Sit down. Nice to see you. See you in Ohio.
Ohio.
Hey, who are you related to? Anyone? Anyone here? Oh, hey.
Hi, Chris.
What's going on? Are you my sister? Are you my girlfriend? I don't know.
I don't think your wife would like either of those.
You're probably right. So what is your name in question?
My name is Chris.
Me too. What's your question?
For Garrett, you have played a lot of gritty characters, and you've played a lot of funny characters, like in Raising Hope. Which do you prefer?
I don't know if I have a preference. I like the change, you know? I like trying to do something different than the last thing I did, and this fits right into that. But I will say, I think this guy has elements of all those things, which pleases me very much. I hope it pleases you.
Excellent. We have time for one more question. Another big crossover here. Really?
Yeah, I'm Egan, all right. I got a question for you, Alicia. Would you like your character to find another love interest?
Would you mind just like walking back and forth down the aisle?
Yeah, do I have a choice?
That pose was everything. Here we go.
Be careful what you say.
So, Alicia, this is Negan. He lives across the country from you. You haven't met him yet.
Yeah, funny outfit. I get what you get with the, what is it, the impersonator?
Freddie Mercury impersonator? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you gotta do the dip. You gotta do the dip. There. Let me tell you something. Jeffrey Dean Morgan asked for a raise. You don't need him anymore. You got this guy. This guy. So what Alicia, like, what do you think about Alicia having another love interest? Would she want to be in a relationship? Does she want to be on her own? How do you think she's feeling right now?
I think she wants to be on her own. But I think what was interesting in the last relationship was that it kind of wasn't really a relationship.
Right.
It was and it wasn't. It was very realistic in the sense of these are two people that are doing the best of what they can in the circumstances, which is trying to create a little bit of hope or companionship and support. So I quite like that it was a bit vague and ambiguous. Going forward though, I like that Alicia's just coming into her own as just, you know, as herself. And she definitely wants to be on her own too.
And I love that it wasn't, you know, yes, she was kind of seeing someone or whatever it was, but it didn't define her. It didn't define her.
No.
And she was kind of the one who was like, hey, you know, I don't know what this is, but take it easy.
I mean, she was really wearing the pants by the end of that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
She was the one in charge. She was like, yeah, this is done now.
She don't need no stinking man.
Nobody does, really. We're all really. But I want to thank you so much. Your cosplay is fantastic. Thank you for doing it again. And I think feel like we might be out of time. I think there's another panel coming on, so I don't want to take too much time. But I do want to say April 15th is the day. You're going to watch Walking Dead. You're going to watch Fear the Walking Dead. You're going to watch Fear the Talking Dead and Walking Dead. The cast will cross over. That starts at 9. And just stay in the whole night. We'll see you tomorrow night for Walking Dead and Talking Dead. Enjoy Wondercon, you guys. Give a huge hand.